This is the Nicolai E-BOXX 2, one of the most customizable electric bikes that I've seen out there. It's really interesting the way that this is set up. For about $5,500 you can get the drive package plus this frame and this suspension here, but nothing else. And really what that's doing is saving you on shipping because these come from Germany. They use Easton aluminum with 0 impurities, creates a really nice finish with the paint as well, and they're designed by Nicolai in Germany. He's got like this really cool farmhouse setup going on. There's a cool video that Red Bull actually made that's sort of a tour of his factory you might have seen. But the bike I'm looking at right now with all of these components added is about an $8,000 build, and so I'm going to touch on those just for fun, but keep in mind that this is designed to be customized, including the geometry of the frame. This is just a really finely tuned package, something that's going to be great for going off-road and especially kind of like a cross-country or downhill setup where you're putting a lot of strain on the drivetrain. As you can see, it's a mid-drive electric system from Bosch, and what that does is it reduces your unsprung weight in the front and rear wheels. It also makes servicing them a lot easier. You can see that there's a through axle setup on this one, front and rear. It's got an 11-speed cassette from SRAM. Really awesome components. I haven't seen a lot of 11 speeds. Most mid-drives with the Bosch system are like 10, so you got that extra gear for climbing if you need it. This Bosch drive system is actually a bit different than the ones I'm used to seeing. It's got this cool bash guard sort of added on that is also a chain guide, and that's going to give you even more security when you're going over big bumps and it's, you know, flopping all over the place. Got a nice protector here for the derailleur cable running through. You see all the cables semi-exposed, but still kind of, you know, contained in that mid-shock by cane crate. This is 160 millimeters of travel. It's an air suspension for rear, 160 in the front as well with a lockout from RockShox. It's got 180 millimeter rotors right here, and what we're looking at is the SRAM Guide RSC. This one also has the RockShox reverb. Right, so that's an adjustable height seat post, so when you're climbing or spinning quickly you can have it raised like a road bike, and then you can drop it down for when you're taking jumps or going over rough terrain. Really cool to see that kind of stuff from high quality mountain biking you know, builders, but in the electric bike space. So the motor on this thing offers 350 watts of geared power, and again I mentioned before that it's kind of custom the way that it's set up. You can see there's a sort of an extra bash guard here, that yellow aluminum thing that's just designed to give you added protection because this is, you know, a little bit exposed, and that's kind of the case with all of the Centerdrive systems I've seen. But it's nice that they've raised this one up, they've tipped it up a little bit and then kept the battery below the down tube, so that's reducing well, it's improving your balance front to rear, and it's lowering your center of gravity even more. The battery itself is removable. You can charge it on or off the bike, which is nice. It's offering you 36 volts and 11 amp hours of capacity. That's the Bosch PowerPack 400 watt hours. The display on this thing, pretty easy to use. You press the power on button, lights right up, and it gives you a big readout for your speed, miles per hour, and a bunch of different sort of traditional bike display options. So if I use this little info button over here, you can see my average speed, my trip time. Range is actually designed for estimating how far you can go given the remaining battery capacity. I've got my odometer, trip distance, clock, max speed, average speed. So I mean, very cool system. And you can also use the eye here, but the cool thing about this sort of breakout button pad is that you don't have to take your hand off the grip when riding. And this is not a bike that has a throttle, and that's a good thing for, you know, when you're actually riding, you're climbing mountains. Maybe you're someone with, like, you know, a knee injury, or someone who wants to go a little further, or you're just into this new technology. It's efficient, it's relatively quiet, it's a ton of fun. But in so doing, you still want to pedal. You still want to have that immediate response. You don't want to be worried about, like, accidentally, you know, gripping the grips too hard and, you know, twisting a, you know, grip shifter, that kind of thing. This is doing it right. You've got these nice trigger shifters here. You've got these grips with lockers on them. I mean, this is ideal setup. And here's your remote seat post dropout. Pretty cool. So the 4 levels of assist include Eco, Tour, Sport, and Turbo. Of course, the higher you go, the lower the range. It's estimating about 25 miles at Turbo right now. This battery's almost full. And in Eco, it's saying 66 miles. So you can imagine, you know, and it kind of depends on your weight and the terrain and everything, and also these knobbier tires. But, you know, 60 miles per charge is significant. And I've used these extensively. They do get amazing range. So again, I just think they did a great job building a frame that's fully customizable. I know Felt has some new full suspension bikes. There's High Bike, but this is truly built to your order, including the paint and everything. So wonderful to see this. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on and ride around a little bit, show this thing off. Taking it up to turbo mode. I should mention that the Bosch system measures your, like, the pressure that you're applying through those cranks, right? So torque. It also measures your cadence down here, so how quickly you're spinning, and it measures the speed of the wheel using a traditional magnet and sensor right there on the chainstay. And by using all 3 of those signals, it's able to very rapidly assist you or pull back and stop helping you. And again, that's so crucial when you're on a dirt trail and maybe things get a little crazy. You're coming around a corner and you stop pedaling. You need the bike to stop pedaling as well for those serious applications. And Bosch is the leader in that sense right now. So and try to demonstrate that. It is a 20 mile per hour top speed, and that's sort of the standard, you know, electric bike legal limit. So quiet, and it does have shift sensing, so when I shift gears over here, you'll notice that the motor actually responds and stops powering, so I'm not going to mash. Whew. Sweet, sweet. So, we got Dustin Apgar. How's it going, man?
Awesome, Core. How you doing today?
Doing well. This guy helped me test some of the stealth bikes a while back. He's got a shop, DTR Motorsports, in Phoenix, Arizona. And, man, you're an amazing, like, sort of motocross rider, right?
I'm very spoiled when it comes to riding anything with 2 wheels.
Right, and modest. That's awesome. I've seen this guy doing wheelies and doing jumps and stuff like that, and I thought he'd be the perfect guy to, you know, help show this thing off. He's working with Grace USA, Nicolai USA, and I think they turn to you to kind of stress test some of their stuff. It seems like
this thing is beyond awesome to go right down the rocks and launch this thing.
Right.
So this is actually our enduro model. Mm-hmm. They have your downhill model and they have your cross-country model, which particularly have to do with the angle of the neck. And
right.
So this one here is actually your enduro model. So it's kind of like stuck right in the middle, because the raked out version is really for downhill,
bombing it,
killing it, and launching it. And this one's right in the middle. It's set up to pretty much hit all aspects of it. So.
Right. Okay, that's good. You got a choice, and that's what we were talking about with fully customizable frame geometry.
Exactly. And cool. Oh man, how light this thing is! Like,
right. Oh yeah, 42 pounds, right?
42 pounds.
And that's this setup. So again, it kind of depends on what the accessories and stuff you put on it, but.
And the really trick part is, considering it's only 42 pounds. I mean, here I'm a 140-pound individual, and this thing is.
And look at that, right in the middle. He's picking it up with one hand right in the middle. That is awesome. And it's just so balanced. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of quality,
exactly.
You know, and performance that you get from a mid-drive system. So do you have anything else to tell me about just the, I mean, I talked about the Easton aluminum that's like flawless.
Just so high-end quality. I mean, just the exact precision. I mean, the guys get right down here. Kalle Nicolai, he builds these things to where he wants everyone to smile and race these things. I mean, yeah. He wants someone to get on this and feel like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to win this race, and I'm going to have a killer bike when I'm done. And cool. Amazing product for it.
Very cool. Well, you know, we're here in Vegas. This is Interbike, so I'm kind of getting a first look at the E-BOXX. This is the E-BOXX 2, right?
E-BOXX 2.
E-BOXX 2. You know, we can go over and fool around on the rocks, or watch you mess around?
We're gonna go find the coolest area we can for a little urban environment and try and get this thing to get a little bit off the ground.
Check it out. Dustin's already back there ripping it up on this little island, this little highway island we found with some nice dirt jumps and stuff. Check this out. There's the Ion 16 Enduro frame. Pretty sweet. That's what this is built on, but it's customized with the battery pack as what you see here.
I found someone really cool. So I'd like to show kind of like how this thing actually performs at speed.
Okay.
Through, that's not like there's really a launch area, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up over this hill and through these trees, kind of down off the back side of this.
Yeah.
And right about off the third palm tree down, you'll really be able to see the action of the whole suspension and the bike just...
Yeah, and it's a wide angle lens, so I'm going to try to follow you a little bit. And maybe I'll start over by those yellow poles. Be careful, man. I don't want to see you, like, slide. Yeah, we got this loose gravel setup going. Look at that. That's the travel. Sick. Nice, dude. So I know you're exhausted. How does this bike feel? Again, I know you're used to like motocross kind of stuff, but in comparison as a bicycle, what's it like?
Well, I'm in here, you can feel like I'm a little bit out of breath, so
you're pushing it.
I'm pushing it, but it rides like a real bike. So even while I'm running through here in turbo mode, I'm still putting the input in.
Yeah, and it's responding.
I get that same
the adrenaline
bike feel.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah.
Excellent.
Adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
Endorphins kicking.
Well, Dustin Apgar, again, I really appreciate your time. It's fun to see someone else riding these and helping to demonstrate the performance. You're an excellent rider. Again, DTR Motorsports in Phoenix, Arizona. If you want to check this guy out and check out his shop.
Man, having fun.
Yeah, this is the E-BOXX 2 from Nicolai. For the full write-up on this, including specs and pictures and stuff, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. Well, it was fun to check this bike out in person, see Dustin riding it around and everything, but clearly it didn't get a chance to take it off-road and really test it. This is a high-performance, racing-ready electric bike, and I think that might actually start to catch on in Europe. I haven't heard of any electric bike races in America at this time, and so this might end up being just a really high-end toy for someone, or really get you out there, go the distance, climb those mountains, and handle excellently. A lot of Bosch powered bikes handle really well. There's the Felt Dual E, and then you've got the high bike. They've got several downhill models and enduro and cross country. They've all got that low center balance, but this takes it to the extreme. You can see the battery hanging out just below the down tube. It's really a remarkable design. But that said, I really wasn't able to get as thorough with this as the bike deserves. And it's worth calling out again that when you buy this bike, you're paying $5,500, and it's being custom engineered by Kalle Nicolai and his team in Germany. And then they're shipping that across the world with the size and the color that you pick. Everything's very custom. And then you from there, you've got to get the wheel set, the tires, you've got to get a cassette, derailleur, brakes, you've got to get a front suspension fork, and they recommend 160 millimeters of travel. You've got to get handlebars, you've got to get a seat post. I mean, there's just a lot to do still, and I think people who are really into cycling, that's a bonus. You don't have to scrap all this other junk. You start off and you get the highest end stuff and dial it in for your needs. But it's going to cost you that extra money, and so I wanted to highlight that, and also to call out that this does use the low-speed electric drive system from Bosch, which cuts out at 20 miles per hour. It's not the higher speed 28 mile per hour version that they use on some of their road bikes, like the high bike race and the super race. Maybe we'll see that in the future for off-road. Of course, you can pedal beyond 20 miles per hour, but the motor won't help you. And there are dongles out there that can kind of unlock that performance, but they void the warranty. It's kind of questionable performance there. So keep all that in mind. I just wanted to add some extra color to this review, and then turn it over to true off-road downhillers for maybe a more in-depth performance.